Hey there, it's Natalie and welcome back to my channel where I help career professionals break into product marketing and nail their product marketing interviews. And today's video is all about a common question that I get asked all the time, which makes sense. How do you break into product marketing in 2025? The landscape is so different even within the last 4 to 5 years. The job market is a beast. So strategies that you might have used before may not be effective today. So I'm here to talk about what I've done and how I've helped my clients get product marketing roles, even one client who was an entry-level college grad with no previous experience in today's crazy job market. So there's never been a better time to break into product marketing if you know the right approach. So in this video, I'm going to break down a couple key sections here. So the must-have skills for product marketers in 2025, the non-traditional paths that can help you break in, how to build a portfolio even if you don't have direct PMM experience, which is possible, interview strategies that will help you stand out, and finally, the mistakes that I'm seeing in career switchers right now. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so before we dive into the how, we have to recognize that the landscape is completely different than it was maybe even 2 or 3 years ago. So we need to talk about how it's evolved since maybe even pre-pandemic. So first, let's address the elephant in the room. There have been so many mass layoffs, and I'm actually seeing that despite the mass layoffs, companies are still hiring for product marketers, just with different expectations, sometimes with too high of expectations. But product marketing is not dead. It is a thriving role, but the spray and pray approach of trying to break in and applying to every product marketing role you see out there is just not working. Companies want product marketers that are data-driven, who can tie their work directly to revenue. Now, when I launched a product that generated 1.8 million in 7 months, what made the difference wasn't solely just the right positioning and the right messaging, but it was a data-driven understanding of the market and also how to build programs and launch frameworks that drive high ROI. Now, the 3 biggest shifts that I'm seeing in the product marketing landscape in 2025 look a little something like this. So first, hyper-personalization. Companies want product marketers who understand specific verticals or customer segments deeply. So the generalist approach is becoming less valuable, unfortunately. And like I said previously in my point, revenue accountability is a huge focus in 2025 for product marketers. Product marketers are now expected to understand the financial impact of their work. It is not just a nice to have in a candidate. Hiring managers are looking for it. So being able to speak the language of revenue attribution and contributing your efforts to real business outcomes is no longer, again, a nice to have. It's required to get the role. Cross-functional leadership. The lines between product marketing, product management, and sales enablement are really blurring in 2025. Product marketers need to be able to influence without authority across multiple departments. And if you're interested in learning more about that, there's a great book called Crucial Conversations that can help you to talk through challenging problems with different perspectives when emotions are high. So check that out if you haven't read it already. And let's talk about what you need next to actually break in and how you can differentiate yourself from other candidates. Okay, so what skills do you actually need as a product marketer to get a job in 2025? Now, having interviewed many candidates and been on both sides of the hiring table, I can tell you the skills that actually matter to hiring managers versus what the job description might claim. So first, the foundational skills of product marketing really haven't changed. That really includes strategic messaging and positioning, competitive intelligence and win-loss analysis, market research and a deep understanding of your audience and your buyers, content creation and storytelling and how that maps to certain questions that a buyer may be asking in the sales process, and finally, how do you enable your internal teams and sales enablement. But here are the differentiators that will really set you apart in 2025. So the first one is data analysis. You need to be comfortable with data. So you don't have to be a data scientist in product marketing, but you should be able to extract insights from customer data, performance metrics, and conduct thorough market research. And I talk about this a lot in my previous videos, but it's about speaking to the right metrics, the right data on your interviews, AKA not vanity metrics. And I cover what metrics to speak to in one of my product marketing interview questions and answers videos. So you can click on that above if you haven't checked that out already. But anyway, let's get back to the key differentiators that will set you apart in 2025 outside of data analysis. So the next one is AI tool proficiency. AI isn't replacing product marketers, at least not yet, but product marketers who leverage AI effectively are replacing those who can't. So you should be familiar with AI tools for content creation, market analysis, and customer insights. I love using it to aggregate the main points from buyer interviews. So taking the transcriptions, uploading them into ChatGPT, and then asking questions about my buyers. And the next one is a big one, and that is video communication. With remote work here to stay, being able to create compelling video content isn't just for YouTubers anymore. Product marketers need to create internal videos for sales teams and external videos for customers. And I personally think either having your own YouTube channel like me or gaining experience in front of the camera in your current role is a huge advantage over other candidates who might shy away from being on camera. You have to be comfortable presenting at sales trainings. You have to be comfortable presenting product updates on webinars and even on stages at conferences. And if you can show that you're comfortable and that you proactively seek public speaking opportunities and you raise your hand to be on camera, you'll definitely stand out in this crowded market. The next area that is really interesting in the current landscape is that growth marketing is becoming part of product marketing. We're seeing it really merge with these growth marketing positions. So understanding conversion funnels, A/B testing, and optimization is now part of your PMM toolkit. But let me just say that unless you have experience at B2C companies and have prior experience with product-led growth, for example, I wouldn't really apply for these specialist positions, because I look at product-led growth type of product marketing positions as basically advanced PMM for most product marketers. Again, unless you have experience in a growth role or with a B2C company. You need to learn how to walk before you run, okay? So no harm in reading up on books like Product-Led Growth for newbies, but don't get fixated on applying for these roles, in my opinion. And then lastly is industry experience. And I know you've heard this so many times, but many of my friends in product marketing didn't go to college, get a degree in product marketing, which are their degrees in product marketing, and then land a product marketing role. Now, I have helped an entry-level grad land her first product marketing role without experience, but I will say most of the time that's the exception, not the rule. But a great way to get into product marketing is if you have direct experience being the buyer of a certain kind of software. So you'll notice that one of my friends joined me in a recent video where she talks about how she was familiar with HR software. She was a buyer of that software. And how she broke into product marketing was that she joined an HR tech company. So she became the product marketer for the HR tech company that she had previously used. So it makes sense, right? Like, you're using things in your day-to-day, you're using software, you're familiar with the software, you know how it works, you are the buyer. And product marketing is all about having a deep, rich understanding of the buyers. So it makes sense to try to look around in your current role, figure out what you're currently using in terms of tools or software, and maybe go ahead and apply for those companies within that industry, or maybe just the company that has that product in their product marketing roles, and you'll be surprised, because leveraging that experience as the buyer is huge and a huge competitive advantage for you in this crazy job market. Now, that was a lot, and you don't need to be an expert in all these different areas to stand out. But in fact, I think that one strategy that's working really well for my clients is to lean on existing expertise while showing aptitude for these other areas. All right, so one of the biggest myths about breaking into product marketing is that you need prior product marketing experience. That's just not true. I actually have very rarely, again, found someone that's been in product marketing their entire career. And I am living proof as well. I started in sales before transitioning to product marketing. So let's break down different backgrounds and how you can translate your experience into product marketing. So if you're coming from sales, let's just start with that since I'm familiar with that. You already understand how to communicate the value and handle objections. So it's the essence of positioning and messaging. Your experience talking to customers gives you insights into what resonates with your market. In interviews, emphasize how you've already been doing product marketing informally by crafting custom pitches for different customers, segments, and industries. I actually talk about this in my program that I created vertical specific emails and then tracked the data on the open rates and how many people wanted to talk to me on a discovery call. Now, if you're coming from customer success, you have a deep product knowledge and understand customer pain points better than most product marketers. You've been the voice of the customer already. So highlight how you've translated customer feedback into product improvements or created resources to help your customers be more successful. Next, if you're coming from a content marketing role, then you already know how to tell compelling stories. The skill gap for you is strategic thinking about product positioning. So show how your content has been aligned with product value propositions and overall business objectives. Now, if you're coming from a completely different field like engineering or finance, focus on the transferable skills like analytical thinking, project management, or industry expertise. The key is always to reframe your experience through the lens of product marketing core competencies. Okay, the next section I want to talk about is building a portfolio even if you don't have experience, which sounds crazy. But let's address one of the biggest chicken and egg problems. Like, how do you prove that you can do product marketing without having done it? The answer is to create a portfolio of work that demonstrates your product marketing thinking without formal experience. Now, here are 5 practical projects that you can complete within the next 60 days that will help you to have a product marketing portfolio. First is around competitive analysis. So you're going to choose a product that you use regularly and create a competitive analysis document. So compare it to maybe 3 or 4 competitors, analyze positioning differentiators, and identify market opportunities. This shows your strategic thinking in terms of a big area of product marketing, which is competitive analysis. Next is a messaging framework. So you can develop a messaging framework for an existing product, including value propositions and how you can create those value propositions for different buyer personas. Next is a really big one, and that is a launch plan. So you can create a hypothetical product launch plan for a new feature of a product that you love. So you can include a timeline, messaging channels, success metrics. And if you're lost on how to do this, I actually break this down in the exact framework in my program that I used for a product launch I did that generated $202,000 in 30 days. Next, you can think about doing a sales battle card. So develop a 1-page battle card helping sales reps to position against a key competitor. So this can demonstrate your ability to translate product value into sales language. This is actually what I did personally when I was in sales, and it helped me to land my first product marketing role. And lastly, you could create an ebook. You can write a thought leadership ebook for a product you're familiar with. So start with the landscape and statistics to support what your target buyer should care about, and then outline the value that the product brings through specific use case examples. This showcases your storytelling capabilities, which is a really big part of being an effective product marketer. Now, the key is to treat these as real projects. So don't them. Apply the same rigor that you would if you were in a full-time job. Then publish them to your LinkedIn, or you can use a site like Canva to upload them into a nice format for your portfolio. A pro tip of mine would be to target the companies you actually want to work for. And when I was trying to break into product marketing, I created a messaging framework specifically for a company I was applying to. So the hiring manager was already impressed that I had been thinking through some of their challenges and could apply some of the qualifications already through my portfolio. Okay, next is a big one, and that is the application and interview strategies. So let's talk about getting and nailing those interviews. First, where to look. So contrary to popular belief, job boards are not always your best bet. In my experience helping people land product marketing roles, the most effective approaches are direct outreach to product marketing leaders on LinkedIn. So not asking for jobs or referrals, but for just 15-minute conversations about their career path. These informational interviews are often the catalyst for referrals. So I talk about this a lot in my previous videos. Reach out for informational discussions and learn a little bit more about their career and also the role that they might have open. You can join product marketing communities like mine, which is actually free. And then you can participate actively. I've seen multiple people in my network get roles through community connections. So it's a great way to start learning about product marketing and learn about others in product marketing. You can set up Google alerts for companies that are launching new products or features, and these companies probably need product marketing support if they haven't already posted a job. Now for the interview strategy specifically. So I talk about this again at length, but use the STAR method: situation, task, action, and result. But sometimes you're so nervous, and I definitely have been there, where you can't even think about this like format at the same time as what you actually want to speak to. So I break it down even further and think about answers like a story. You tell your hiring manager the situation, the challenge, what you did to overcome that challenge, and the results that you learned. So just think about it as like the hero's arc. You're telling a story, situation, challenge. What did you do? What was the result? For example, when I was asked about a successful product launch, I also just didn't talk about the tactics that we did. You really want to frame it such as we were entering a competitive market where the competitor had 80% of the market share. And this is a true story. The challenge was differentiating our product with a limited marketing budget and team. I identified an opportunity to focus on an underserved segment and use specific use cases in my messaging to connect with those buyer personas. And this resulted in $202K in revenue within 30 days. What I learned was the value of using rich buyer interviews and market research to create targeted messaging every team could trickle down into their work. And I learned a lot about cross-functional project management, and I'm proud of all the hard work of the launch team and how that paid off in the end. Remember to prepare stories that highlight: 1, how you influenced without authority, which is a big part of being in product marketing. 2, how you translated complex products into simple value propositions for your key buyer personas. 3, how you use data to inform your strategy. And then lastly, how you work cross-functionally and emphasizing language like the team win versus you as an individual. That's huge. Alrighty, so there you have it, your roadmap to becoming a product marketer in 2025. Let's quickly recap. You're going to focus on developing both foundational product marketing skills and differentiators in 2025, which is data analysis, AI proficiency, video communication, growth marketing, and industry expertise. You're gonna leverage your current background, whatever it may be, by reframing your experience through a product marketing lens. You're gonna build a portfolio of work that demonstrates how you think about product marketing, even without formal experience. You're gonna use a targeted application strategy focusing on networking and communities rather than solely just job boards. And then in interviews, you're gonna use that structure to respond in a very compelling story in a format that feels like you're walking the hiring manager through a story. Now, breaking into product marketing in 2025 is challenging, but it's absolutely doable with the right approach. I've seen people make this transition in as little as 3 months with a really focused effort. So if you found this video helpful, please hit that like button and that subscribe button for more practical product marketing advice from me. But if you're serious about transitioning into product marketing and you want more personalized guidance, including one-on-one interview coaching, check out my interview coaching program in the description below, and I can work with you one-on-one to help you land your dream product marketing role. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.